Hi, I'm Anna.
And I'm Ben.
And we are AutoSave. Welcome to our channel.
Today we're watching Attack on Titan, Season 3, Episode 2. Last episode, we had a pretty big tonal shift.
Both in opening and in show.
Might be one of my favorite intro songs from the series. I'm not sure. I need to listen to it a couple more times. But it's very different, and I love it.
I don't even think I could say how I feel about it yet because it caught me so off guard.
Yeah. Well, Pastor Nick's dead. He was tortured trying to get information out of him. Probably, his fingernails were pulled off. Probably about the whereabouts of Krista. And he did not squeal. He has the admiration and respect of Levi because of that. Speaking of Levi, Kenny. That's all that's needed to be said.
He lived with him for a little while.
Yeah.
He's a serial killer, mass murderer of the military police.
Nefa's dead. That's another thing that happened. We saw...
And the guy with the glasses.
Yes. We saw King Fritz and the royal crest, from what I understand it to be, or like symbol.
Mm-hmm. He was giving away food, or at least he was having people give away food saying it was from the king.
Which leads me to the point being, while I was editing last video, Season 3, Episode 1, I caught this line that I guess I didn't pay too much attention to when it said, but I feel like if I did understand it when it was said, I would have talked about it more. Yeah. It's when they're in the room with Lord Rice and King Fritz, and the conversation between Lord Rice and somebody else is saying, don't you think it's a bit too much for raising the people's morale, like in
terms of giving all the food?
Yeah. It's necessary. There was a need to raise the public's approval of the royal family. More importantly, we need that power and the vessel. That seems pretty important.
We know that they're looking for both Krista, Historia, and Aaron.
Who?
That's the whole point. When the military police were searching for the scouts, they had to turn over Krista and Aaron.
So it's two parts to whatever they're looking for. One's the power and one's the vessel out of Krista and Aaron.
Yeah, because Pastor Nick didn't squeal on whether or not he had told the scouts who Krista really was.
But why now? They obviously haven't gone for Aaron. Obviously they're going for Krista now that she has her true identity spoken about. But
they don't even have confirmation that she has. That's the whole reason they went to see if Nick said anything.
Well, yeah, but what makes them talk about Aaron the way that they are? Being, whether it's the power or the vessel, why now are they trying to get Aaron?
Well, definitely because of what happened and the new interesting development that Aaron can seemingly control Titans. I'm sure word got around when the scouts got back.
But it does give off the impression that they were waiting for this, or they expected a time. They have information,
Well, it could be said that maybe both sides knew there was a possibility or a fated power.
A prophecy.
A prophecy. It could be that because obviously we know that Reiner and Berthold were looking for the coordinate, and they identified that it was within Aaron, and maybe it could be said that the royal family also is aware of that power being a possibility.
I would assume Aaron is the power and Krista Historia is the vessel, right?
Maybe. I don't know what she'd be a vessel of, because obviously if the power's within Aaron, then Aaron is the vessel.
Currently, but I would assume that the royal family has some, bloodline importance or something.
The power should only be had by someone who's connected royally?
Is this in relation to Aaron and Krista?
I mean, it's the only thing that
or
we
is
can
it just
deduce
Aaron?
Right now. I don't think it has anything to do with Krista necessarily. I think they just don't want the public to find out about Historia.
Interesting. I don't know. It's interesting that we have these people, like, in the higher ups talking about that is set into motion. Talking about something that we've never heard before. Mm-hmm. Like, we've never even come close to hearing before. Like, they have some knowledge, historical knowledge, perhaps, that we are hearing for the first time.
Right, and I'm not surprised in the slightest that the royal family and the people high up have knowledge that the rest of the society does not have. I mean, if they're getting rid of books and telling the common people what they can read and what knowledge they can have of the past, who's the keeper and decider of all of that? The person in charge.
I wonder why King Fritz looks so like, I don't know. He looks very, like, tired, annoyed, like, not, like, caring, like, I don't know, not bothered.
I mean, it could be that he's just so used to everyone else doing things for him that he's like, oh, well, we'll figure it out. Like, they'll handle it or I'll kill them kind of thing. He could just be so unbothered because nothing actually truly affects him emotionally.
Yeah, if there is, like, a prophecy or something that's been, like, handed down generationally, like, then that would put pressure on him, or maybe he's dealing with, like, the burden of this historical weight. I don't know.
I mean, I'm sure he definitely knows that the people need to be put in better favor of the royal family. Obviously, the fact that I think the public probably doesn't have an amazing view of the royal family for probably many reasons. And I would think the threat of the Titans and that they're being culled and or there aren't enough rations for them, I think that would all blame would be put on the people in charge. Mm-hmm. So he definitely has the burden of...
That's true.
How the public views him.
I'm gonna assume that it's like a blood throne, like a throne through heritage. Like, I think that, like, obviously the Rice family is, like, important, right, and noble. I'm gonna assume, just for my own sake, at the moment, that, like, the Fritz family are the kings. There's not, like, a democracy, and it's like he is like his lineage would be.
I could see that. I don't. Perhaps. I could see it being more like a. Yeah, definitely passed down within the family. I don't think it'd be like a vote.
Yeah. I mean, he has his own crest, or the family does, you know?
I'm sure that's been around for a while.
I wonder if he has, like, some pompous, spoiled brat of a kid. I don't know.
They're probably in the military police, and they probably think that they're the bee's knees.
Mm. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Sweet. Let me hear him say Kenny again. Kaboom.
Is he trying to kill him?
It looks like it. Whoa. Honestly, the truth? What is the truth?
It's a kidnapping mission. They got wind.
Okay, it was a dart. It was a dart. It was a dart. I've never seen, like, sleep darts in this show. But oh my god, that was not a dart. Where's backup? Oh!
Interesting development with Levi bringing up not wanting to kill people or talking about killing people.
Yeah. This animation's crazy.
In the
Whoa. Dude. Holy shit.
Did you see it?
There was a shot of him looking at a reflection of himself in that animation that was so good. So Western.
久しぶりだな。まだ生きてるとは思わなかったぜ。ガキには大人の事情なんてわかんねえもんさ。おめえはチビなだけで年はそれなりに取ってたな。俺が教えた処世術がこんな形で役に立つ。
Interesting.
から逃げようと上からドカンだぜ。どうして俺らはゴミための中で生きるしかなかった。 その日を生きるのに精一杯でやりたいことが見つかったんだ。単純だろう。大いなる目的のためなら殺し。
Oh! Distraction.
It was a chair, just like Kenny was doing.
Oh my god!
Oh, he's using him!
This is so
okay,
different.
Sasha and Connie, don't go over there. Please don't.
I don't know, Mikas is there.
I like that lady.
She's very matter of fact. The animation this episode has been stellar. Oh my god, dude! It's like M-rated Spider-Man. Jean is not.
I mean,
dealing with
Mikasa's
this well.
killed people before, but none of the other ones have.
Damn. Don't hesitate.
Don't hesitate, because they won't. No.
No shot.
No.
逆に知らなかったことを教えることになりかねん。人類憲章にのっとって処理すればいい。
Is his clothing a little bit resembling of Ymir's in her past?
エレンとヒストリアを抑えたらしい。こちらが動く必要はないと。
私物で戻してほしいものがあれば、あと
A Wallust was among them.
問題ない。お前と話したいと思っていた。
思い出話に付き合う気はないぞ。
釣れないな、ナイル。調査兵団を志した仲だろう。
Whoa. That's development.
この小さな世界、中央は人類の未来を託すに足る存在か否か、誰が選ぶ？お前は誰を信じる？
何をやるつもりだ？
毎度おなじみの博打だ。
Did Armin kill him? For Jean?
Oh my god, did Armin kill the person that had the gun pointed at Jean? Oh,
wow.
That must have been so hard.
Interesting. Oh.
相手が一瞬撃つのを躊躇した。
俺がすぐにやらなきゃいけなかったのに。
僕が殺した人はきっと優しい人だった。ずっと人間らしい人だった。僕はすぐに引き金を。
お前の手はもう汚れちまったんだ。以前のお前には戻れぬ。新しい自分を受け入れろ。もし今もお前の手が綺麗なまんまだったらな。今ここにジャンはいないだろう。仲間が殺されそうになっていたからだ。俺たちは仲間を一人なくさずに済んだ。
リヴァイ兵長、俺は間違ってると思ってました。間違ってたのは俺でした。
何が本当に正しいかなんて俺は言ってない。そんなことはわからないからな。お前は本当に間違っていたのか。
馬車の運送に使われているただの追い物
あなたとは会ったことがある。彼は街で。
Oh shit.
Demo Reeves だろ。
Demo Reeves.
中央憲兵に命令されて従ったこれから全財産
The Reeves Company.
俺はあのバカ息子。黙って殺されていいのか。商会が人と仕事を結びつけているのが大きい。一体何人が冬を越せるだろうな。と俺の部下が餓死するのを止められるってのか。しない。ただ そのために動くことだけは信用してもらって。
Interesting.
I'm really-
that he's okay. He wants to protect trust.
Yeah. I'm really loving the character of Levi right here. They're really utilizing him well.
エレンとヒストリアが拉致された。ユミルとベルトルトの会話を思い出したんだけど。
問題は何だ。
Where's Niall?
早く救出しないとエレンは食われる。
Because if you eat one with the power, then you get the power, right? Because of Ymir? We learned that?
The outro of last season, we had the 3 girls eating.
Eating someone.
That we thought were Maria.
Cena.
Yeah. Rose.
Deserves it. That's the one that ripped all of Pasternak's nails off.
商人に重要なのは嗅覚だ。得する方を嗅ぎ分ける。
もう終わってないだろうね。
ああ、俺も慣れてなくてな。
戦車なんだが、よろしく頼むよ。
待て、拷問するやつが。
Levi wasn't even asking any questions!
レイスケとはなんだ。
遅い。急ぐんだよ、こっちは。
Ah,
エレンたちを助けるためとはいえ、犯罪者だよ。
There is no,
they
like...
didn't even do anything criminal. That's the most annoying part.
食べようとしてくるから殺すわけじゃない。僕らはもういい人じゃないよ。一体何枚剥がせばあんなに上手くなれるの？
なぜ今まで戦争が起きなかったかわかるか。
Because they've stifled it with torture.
憲兵がこの汚い手で守ってきた。
Holy...
こんな教師から空を飛ぼうとしたバカな夫婦も。
What?
田舎の牧場にいたバイトも。
Did you see the book?
人類はやってこられた。痛めつけるやつは見たことがねえ。バケモンだ。この壁の安泰と。
His nose is broken, right?
俺たちの俺の血に染まった人生のすべて。
It's all I ever did.
情けないやつめ。爪一枚で全部喋りやがって。
Purposeful. They left the door.
そりゃあいつの勝手だ。暑苦しいやつで。俺らは迷
Is he
惑
gonna
して。
be reading, like, a script or something?
前の証言と一致するのを確かめるまではダメだ。
抜かりねえな。なあ、俺の牢には。
さあサネス、気を取り直そう。頑張って拷問する。
レイスケが本当の王家だ。
What?
They're the true heirs.
商人ってのは信用が売り物じゃなかったのかよ。
Did you see the pupil?
Mm-hmm.
俺が育てたからな。リヴァイ・アッカーマンはそういうやつ。
Ackerman? Wow.
ヒストリア。今まですまなかった。
Did he not want to give her up or do this to her? Does she have to eat Aaron?
That's what I'm thinking.
Same kind of vibe drawing as the last outro.
Had we heard Levi's last name before?
What are you looking for in particular?
Did we ever get Mikasa's last name? That's to Mikasa.
Is Levi part Asian?
They have the same last name.
仕留めた赤マン。
Levi and Mikasa have the same last name.
Why?
They're fucking related. Had that right? Is that like translation error? Is it a miscaption? Where was it said? It was like literally Kenny's last line, right?
Yeah, it's after he killed Reeves.
Levi Ackerman. They're fucking related. But how would that not have come up?
Is that why Levi was in the underground? Because he was being sold? Like what they wanted to do with Mikasa?
That could very well be the case. Why would he have his... Granted, okay.
Why would they never talk about having the same last name?
Maybe they just have never talked about it. They're up to more important things, seemingly. I'm sorry, there's a lot we got this episode, but this is a standout. I fucking knew I heard that shit before. Episode 7. Episode 7. Or 6. Episode 6. Yes, episode 6. Granted, in episode 6, they wrote Ackerman with one N. And this is 2 N's. But I am 99% sure that there is relation there. And they kind of have similar vibes.
They do have similar vibes. I mean, they both...
That's fucking huge.
I mean, that would just make you think that maybe Levi's parents were murdered, too, so that they could kidnap him.
What does that mean? Sibling?
No.
Cousin?
Cousins, maybe. If it was, like, the only kind of family line that had survived or something, they could be more distantly related, and it's just the name has gone on.
I think you probably were onto something with, like, maybe he was, like, sold or something. Because I'm pretty sure in episode 6, when we got that, they were talking about the underground market and stuff. Mm-hmm. So the line was, last refugee of clan from Asia, underworld auction. That's my notes from episode 6. Also, Mika Ackerman, Kid Aaron equals badass. So, that's fucking weird. Nobody's gonna talk about it. Like,
I feel like if the other characters had a shared last name, it wouldn't be as significant as someone who comes from the last clan, you know? Like,
yeah.
that would be a little bit more like, wait, are we related? You know, that's impressive.
We also got, obviously from a storytelling perspective, it makes sense that we got a lot of Levi this episode, and good animation around him, but for them to reveal that Ackerman's his last name, like it just feels okay. There's a whole sequence after the credits, the intro of this episode where Levi Ackerman was like using his ODM gear, and it was probably some of the most impressive animation I've seen in the show. Because it went on for more than 10 seconds. It was a sweeping shot. I don't even know where you cut here. Like, in terms of, like, you're following the same form of action. What a shot when you see Kenny, from his shadow first appearing. Like, this was just a brilliant... I would love to just, 30 seconds to be able to just, sit to watch this Levi animation, if that's okay with you. Mm-hmm. There's one shot in particular that I really enjoyed, of Levi seeing a reflection of himself in a window. Oh, that was an important shot. Do you want to try to break that down? He looks like L, doesn't he? Like obviously
like a very gaunt,
starved. Like he, like, what was Levi's life really like, you know? He looks like Mikasa now more than ever. Like, I can't get it out of my head.
I mean, I am positive that it makes sense that he was starving and underfed and not taken care of by how we know where he came from.
Yeah.
When Erwin went to go recruit him.
This is just ridiculous, dude.
That's a nice shot.
Are animating a minute and a half of just motion, and you're going to have literally one frame where you can see Levi's reflection, and just to have it there.
It's not even blurry.
It's perfect.
It's crisp.
And it's crazy that they go to that extent, because it's one of those things that they don't linger on it enough to be really important, but the fact that they have it there makes the entire scene much more enjoyable. You could barely see it.
Yeah, it didn't even really show up.
Oh my god, what an impressive sequence. I'm surprised you even noticed
it the first time.
And then you see the spiraling ODM gear.
Yes.
On another note, killing humans with ODM gear is a fucking mood, dude. I did not know that I needed that in this show, and it is ridiculous. Also, Levi's a superhero. It's Levi of the Scouts.
I'm normally a lot more talkative.
Yeah, I know.
I think I'm just really confused.
We got a lot of information.
My brain is really trying to wrap its head around. I mean, it was already having trouble last episode with tonal changes, and it, like I said in the intro, I had needed another time seeing the opening to even start like getting into it or vibing with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I've just kind of been thrown into this thing that feels like slightly discordant to what I'm used to with this show. And I think it just has me like feeling like I'm like treading water. Like I thought I was on land and now I'm like even more, or at least like I thought I knew what the issue was and the enemy. Like I thought I was on land and there were Titans there. And now I feel like before I could truly understand the Titans or anything about them, I've now been like pushed into the water and I'm like treading and there are people with guns.
That's a really good way to put things, because I feel you on that, in the sense that like, oh, we're learning all this information about the story that we've been following for 2 seasons.
We are really starting to ramp up to understanding what Titans are and where they came from, and Reiner and Berthold and the Beast Titan and Ymir, and we were finally getting these like nice pieces of information and puzzle pieces to put together. And then 3rd season started and kind of like threw me off the ship.
You know
and
what
I'm
it's
like, ah.
You know what it's like? It's like the first 2 seasons, like you're writing it, you're like a normal show, a normal anime kind of like vibe, a normal story. And then for season 3, you're like, you know what? I'm just gonna like pick someone that we don't know, or like a military police, whatever, and then just start writing a different story that's going to intersect with the main story and like add another layer of depth to everything.
I mean, it makes sense now after this episode why it would become so human versus human centric, and so not based on Titans and where they come from, but based on kind of the society and why it's so secretive and why it seems like some people know more than others, with Historia being involved.
Yeah.
Like, obviously it's taking this tonal shift and this kind of story setting and kind of goal shift because now we know who Krista is. Or at least now we even know even more of who Historia is.
God, like the picking when to use pieces and unveil information like as like a written story, this is insane. Like, it feels like the author wrote a story, went back, added stuff.
And was like, I really like this Krista girl.
Like, and like did that whole process of going back and like making sure it was a complete story ahead of time and you could fit in stuff at certain points. It feels like he did that like 20 times so that he could like Ackerman. We got that like barely at all. And then when you're introduced to 2 characters named Commander Irwin and Captain Levi, I know for myself, I wasn't considering, oh, what's their last name? Because they have another title, you know?
Like, I don't even think the characters that we know their last names, it's even important that we do. I feel like we learned them in a environment where it was normal to say someone's full name. We learned their names in this training camp, scouts, when they were first joining the military and they were there for training. That's when we learned their names because
Annie
the
Leonhardt.
Commander was saying their names.
Yeah, Reiner Braun, Sasha Bross, Thomas Wagner, like, and now
right.
we
It
get...
was very military setting that we learned their names.
Yeah, and I don't even think about Captain Levi. Or, sorry, I'm so discombobulated. Okay, so, a lot of information. It'll probably take us a little bit of time to, like, kind of put some things together. We have, another episode coming out soon, which is good, so we can talk and digest
I'm
stuff
sure
more.
by even the intro of the next episode, we might have a better handle on some of the stuff that we learned here. But obviously, you're getting our initial just got out of the episode thoughts and feelings.
I kind of feel like I just watched like
queries.
the Red Wedding. Like this is
The
like
what?
the Red Wedding, like from Game of Thrones.
I don't know.
Like
I've never seen Game of Thrones.
Really? Anyway, sorry. But we're gonna try our best for this discussion, and then we'll probably have a lot more thoughts in the intro next because there's so much information that we got. Some of that information being the mid-roll. Anna, I know you're a little discombobulated
I like
as
to
well,
read things.
but could you please read this?
Okay. Information available for public disclosure. Anti-personnel omnidirectional mobility gear. This device was developed not to exterminate Titans, but to directly counter ODM gear for use in fighting other humans. With speed exceeding human perception and allowing one to attack from blind spots, the device exhibits tremendous dominance in cities and forests.
I wonder if this was invented in the underground or if it's been invented elsewhere.
I feel like what it makes me think of is what we heard that one man that tortured Pastor Nick be like, why do you think you haven't heard any different? It's because we're silencing literally every rebellion or every person that's a little bit too curious. And so it's definitely seeming like they gave Kenny this equipment. Without a doubt, I believe the military police and or the government gave Kenny the Ripper and his peeps this equipment.
Yeah. So Lord Rice
Is it Reese or Rice?
Race. We see him a little later in the episode. I'm trying to get to, obviously I'm going chronologically because that's the only way I can even operate at this time. Commander had a conversation with Niall. I would love to have heard that and been a fly on the wall. But
don't you wish that you could be a fly on the wall?
I haven't heard that in forever. I'm in no mood to reminisce about the past. So at one point he wanted to become a scout as well. That's pertinent information that I feel like they kept that from me so I wouldn't like him.
You know, I could see that maybe they were both aiming for scouts and then they both got top ranks or something like that. And Erwin went with scouts instead of military police. And or because Erwin went with the scouts, they needed to get someone else in the rank. And Niall was the next person who didn't make it in the original 10. Not surprised by Armin's reaction to killing someone.
True. I would love to see like the Niall Erwin backstory though. You know, like in the 10 kind of thing like you were saying. Like it'd be kind of interesting to have like a prequel of that.
I know, because I really didn't like Niall and I still don't. But it was intriguing that Erwin was asking him questions like, who are you going to trust? And things like that. And I'm like, Erwin, I trust you. I don't know if I should. Like, you might betray me or something. But, like, right now, I trust Erwin.
I definitely trust Erwin. And I don't think he'd betray me.
I trust Levi, too. Both of them.
How do you feel about, like, the whole, like, situation with Armin?
It's so... I can't say... Like, relatable's not the right word. Because, like, I can't actually relate. But I can relate to if I had to kill someone in order to protect someone, I would definitely probably vomit afterwards. Is the thing that I think is very relatable.
I feel like it was such like it was good writing. I think this episode had amazing writing in it in particular. Like some of the lines of dialogue are really great. But with the Armin situation, you just like, it's something you haven't really thought about until now. Like, Mikasa changed when her family died and she killed somebody in episodes.
She completely changed when she had to kill someone.
Another parallel to episode 6, the other being the reveal of Ackerman. But it brings up an interesting question. Like, Armin, we see how that changed him. Eren was so ready to kill in episode 6.
Which, like, reminds me back to the courtroom where they brought up Mikasa and Eren being so okay with killing people. Which I thought was super dumb to say, especially at the time, because I was like, that was literally self-defense. They were about to sell her off and they just killed her parents.
Yeah.
But what they were getting at was it seemed a little too enthusiastic.
Like,
and less self-defense and more like...
Like they weren't trying to
Excitable? I don't
escape.
know.
They were like trying to get revenge.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
yeah. More like revenge is a good word.
But it is interesting, right? Because like Aaron, like he was just like ready to go for it. And I think that the way that they obviously Aaron and Armin are very different people, but the way that they wrote it with Armin was really believable. Like it felt very natural to him.
It was very natural for him too. It was natural. What I also thought was natural in character was Jean initially not agreeing with Levi's direction and command to fight the other people. Mm-hmm. You could tell as soon as he got that command and Mikasa started going, he was following Mikasa, he immediately was like, I don't know if I can act on this command that I've just been given. And can we talk about how like the gunfire's happening and Sasha is still like, it is interesting to me. I feel like Sasha has been shown to sometimes kind of be a little more cower away, and then in other times we've seen her in the past especially dive to save someone.
Yeah.
Like I'm pretty sure at the very beginning when they all get like blasted off the wall, she like impaled, I think it was Bertholdt's leg. No, it wasn't Bertholdt's leg. It was some other guy.
Yeah.
She like impaled their leg to save them from falling off the wall when the Colossal showed up.
Yeah.
And here we had like, I think Levi swooped in and grabbed someone, and then she swooped in and grabbed someone. And I was like, even though there's guns involved, she's still like, mission set, I'm gonna scoop in and grab my friend.
When there's no time to think, she acts like right away, you know?
Which is like, reminds me of Aaron. I feel like both of them would immediately like dive in, ask questions later.
Agreed.
And it's instinctual.
They're
both kind of driven by their like instincts and gut reactions.
So when the next scene was like when Levi was sitting around the fire with like the rest of the gang, I guess.
Yeah, and
after
it sounds
Aaron was taken.
By that phrasing, it sounds like it's a very nice campfire sing-song time.
No.
But this was not a happy sing-song time.
I really think that this like episode is a masterclass in writing. I really do. Like this whole interaction was amazing. Levi saying like, Armin, you've got blood on your hands.
And Mikasa was like, don't tell him he's not a good What did he say that Mikasa was like, don't tell him that?
Well, you can't go back to who you were. And then...
And Mikasa was like, why would you say that?
Embrace the new you. I think that is really good writing. And then another
what he
scene
follows up with is even amazing.
Embrace the new you. Like, that's... it's almost like he's talking to Mikasa when it was in episode 6. Like, Mikasa completely changed that episode.
I think, and these lines are super important for everyone else in the room to hear as well, I think.
I'll tell you why you pulled the trigger, because your comrade was about to die. And then the other interesting stuff was when Jean started talking. Like I thought it was wrong too. And then apologizing to Captain Levi. And wrong for you to order us to do it. But I'm the one who was wrong. Next time I'll shoot. I never said anything about who was right or wrong.
Which is so perfectly Levi. Like, Levi has never known... Like, I remember he decided to follow Erwin, not because he knew... He didn't know any... And it was, like, mainly because he didn't know. He doesn't know what Erwin sees, but he trusts in the fact that Erwin sees something. So he doesn't know himself the future that he's striving for in the Scouts.
Correct. Like, but doesn't it like he does not know the future that he's striving for in the Scouts? But doesn't it remind you of like his line to Aaron when they were horseback? Oh
yeah, didn't he tell Aaron to kind of decide for himself what to do at the end of the day?
It was very similar to like you don't know what's right or wrong. You don't like it could go either way, but do what you can, or like do with whatever.
The least regret.
Yeah. Like, or like, what's the decision that you think you can like
live with at the end of the day?
Yeah, and I thought that was really cool.
It's so honest. It's not like pompous. Like he's truly like, I know I'm supposed to be in command of you, and maybe the older person that you're supposed to be looking up to. But I don't even know the right answer. I'm just going to be going based on, in the moment, what I think is the right thing to do, which obviously if your comrade has a gun pointed at them, you save them.
In No Regrets, talking to Ferlin and Isabel, Levi said, trust your gut, and then commented on not knowing what was right or wrong. And it's like, it's consistent writing. And it's very easy to lose track of a story with 5 characters in it, let alone as many characters that are in this show. And that's really impressive to me. It's consistent to his character.
Right, because he doesn't have this... I feel like sometimes there's characters who have this air about them where they are... I feel like, okay, Aaron, for example, is a more kind of self-righteous... Like, he has an idea in his head of what is right and what is wrong. And he is very judgmental of those and can't really forgive those that have done wrong to him.
Like no redemption kind of stuff?
No, like, yeah, it's hard for him to find Reiner or Berthold redeemable.
Yes.
Or Annie redeemable because they did a thing that he deems wrong.
Yeah.
And so even if they were forced to do it as kids, it seemed like in that treetop scene, he was kind of like, well, I don't freaking care because you guys are murderers.
Yeah.
So that's a very, like, him. He's like, he has his idea of right and wrong.
My way or the highway, kind of like.
Yeah. And, like, I kind of feel like Levi's similar to Mikasa. Like, I don't think Mikasa knows what she deems right and wrong at all. I think she lost that ability.
I agree, and now is fighting for... It's like she doesn't even care about it as long as she is going to protect the ones that she loves.
If she has no more room in her heart to care about anyone or anything else, then she has no room in her heart for compassion or empathy for anyone else. Therefore, she can't truly... It's almost like right and wrong purely for her has to do with what Aaron picks or what outcome involves Aaron.
I completely agree with you. So this guy, I'm just gonna call him Mr. Reeves.
Yeah.
I'm about to blow your mind, dude. I don't know if it actually will, but so not only I cannot entertain the idea that the Ackerman reveal was not so intentional to this degree. Ready? No, what episode did we hear Mikasa's backstory and then last name? Episode 6, right?
Yeah.
Talking about the Reeves company working together. The only Mikasa said that she remembers this guy. When did this guy first appear? Episode 6. This was when the reaction was. It's the same episode that Mikasa had her backstory, and we hear her last name too.
And this guy was trying to fit all that. It's interesting, though, because he's kind of redeemed as a character.
He is.
Because he's the boss of a guild, and yes, he seems money hungry, and like he doesn't super care about people. But it's like, the people's survival also helps his company survive. It's a circle. Like, what goes around comes around. He might sell them food at a high price, but they survive because they eat, and he gets the money from it.
Levi says that's because the Reeves company brings people together.
They hire people for the company.
How few would survive the winter if they were gone for good? I wrote this in regards to something else this episode, but I think it really applies here. We've said it before at least once. There is no black or white in this story. Like, there's no right or wrong. It's all... We see Levi and Hanji torturing someone, and typically in a story it's like, no, I'll make a way to like win without doing those bad things, but it's not that simple here.
I don't know what it kind of seems like to me is, like, oh, there's no right and wrong. At the moment, my feelings are, if there was like a table and it said wrong on top, and you put the people that are wrong on top, and then everyone else in the universe is down below it's a black and white gray area, you know, like they might be doing something for someone else that they think is the right thing to do, but then I'm like King Fritz and his little rich people. are on
the
top
right-
of the table and
yeah.
wrong. Because they know something. And I
Yeah.
feel like they're only keeping it. Oh, yeah, we're keeping the peace. I'm like, yeah, but like, you're obviously taking away people's freedom to keep your peace. I don't even know if it's about the peace of society. It's your peace.
But you don't know, even if you had the information they do to understand why they're doing what they're doing. Let's say that they have a really good reason why they're doing what they're doing, and if they didn't, then all hell would break loose. Even if we could see the perspective that they're in the right, it would not necessarily justify any of their actions that
Right.
they've taken in the way that they have, and because of that, it would not be black or white.
Right.
It's always going to be 1,000 shades, and
It's just my feelings at the moment is that their reason is purely selfish.
that I think it very well could be, and that would make a lot of sense if it was selfish. Anna, what does the screen say right now?
The screen is Hanji talking, and it says, if we don't rescue him quick, Eren will get eaten. Because obviously the piece of paper that Hanji had from Eren depicted in however Eren remembered it, a conversation between Ymir and Bertholdt about how Ymir ate Marcel and now has power from Marcel. And it answers the question that we had the last couple episodes of, well, what actually did Eren consciously remember and or hear from that conversation? Because they didn't really tell us exactly what he remembered, because he could have just remembered that, oh, Ymir was out there for 60 years, you know, and that could have been what he wrote down. But now we know that he was like awake for that whole conversation and remembered it.
Why? I could be very wrong. It gives me the idea that Historia would be the one forced to eat Eren. Like, that was like my interpretation or takeaway from like the ending of the episode 2 and how they were both recaptured. No? Or somebody was gonna eat Eren. The way that they set it up, I thought it was gonna be Historia, but obviously we can get there towards the end of it.
It's definitely supposed to be her. Right now, before I can even start thinking about the royal family in that way or Historia, I have questions like, so Eren ended up with the power in a way that I'm going to assume that either his dad fed it to him and or whatever DNA of the person was in the syringe. And what if it was stolen? What if it was not meant to be given to Eren, but Eren's dad found out that, and that's why the Titan attack happened? I don't know. Like, the Titans came to get this thing, and Eren's dad stole it. I don't know.
It's a good hiding spot.
Why else would,
Eren's
like,
body's a good hiding spot.
why would Eren's dad have it? If they wanted Historia to be the one that ingested this, why would they give it? Why would Eren's dad steal it for Eren?
If you remember the very brief scene we got with Eren's dad injecting him, it definitely seemed like he was on the run and in a rush, and that would lend credence to the idea of him stealing it. And then, because maybe he knew King Fritz's true intention of what he was going to do with it, and that led him to steal it and then give it to Eren, who he believed would do better, or just as a temporary hiding place.
And were they ever going to give it to Historia, or are they just giving it to her now because it's already known and it's already here and someone already ingested it?
Yeah.
Is this just kind of like a means to fix things?
Granted, we don't know that they're going to give it to Historia.
She's totally going to eat it.
yeah.
We saw the outro in season
okay.
2. There's blonde girls eating a person. Duh.
Yeah, well, I know. I'm with you.
I know,
and
I'm just messing.
if we're following that line of thinking, though, right? There are blonde girls eating, you know.
Blonde girls doing what blonde girls do.
If there are blonde girls eating the remains of what looked like to be a king, right? Or someone of royalty, and we thought that they could be Maria Rose and Senna, then it, like...
Interesting.
They could have gotten the power from that to make the walls themselves. Are
You
they
just
trying
said
to make
something
another
interesting.
wall? What?
You said that the person they were eating was the king.
It looked like it.
I just thought it was a person. I thought the guy standing in front of them telling them to eat was the king. But that could have been the priest or the lead wallist. And they could have been ingesting their father that just passed away, so pass the power on or whatever.
Didn't it look like everyone was eating though in that?
No.
Yeah.
I think it was just the 3 girls.
I'm pretty sure it looked like. I'm gonna look. Can I use your pen? 42. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna look because I think you were the one who caught that detail. That
I think I was wondering if it looked like that and or they had red lipstick. But the 3 girls are the ones really, which maybe, oh my gosh, what if all 3 of the girls are in Titan form and they each had to direct Titans to make a wall with them.
Walls, yeah.
And so each of the girls are actually inside the wall. I think that's just their mouths open.
Their hands are up to them.
Is that like a praying?
It looks like this. No?
I don't know, because then they show us the 3 girls literally in front with pieces of meat.
I understand that.
So, and the guy's lips are red too, so it could just be lips and mouths. I don't know. It's a little...
Regardless.
Because that guy's holding a book, so he's obviously not putting anything in his mouth.
I am 100% getting King Fritz vibes from this dude, and I'm 100% getting Historia vibes from these girls who seem like they are forcefully being fed or having to eat this person.
So is King Fritz
This is why I said royalty, because it looked like he was wearing...
Is the true king and the true successor, are there really 2 royalties here? Is there the royalty that's the head of the church and then the government head? And they are different? And really Fritz's family maybe took over but is letting the real royal family kind of live? Because if we think back to Ymir, it was all the blood of the king. She has the blood of the king.
Well,
So obviously there was something weird going on if they didn't exactly know whose heirs were to the blood of the king.
Well, so is King Fritz in the know about Historia meeting her father right now?
Well, that's a good question of, did Historia ever get to meet her dad?
I don't think so. I think that it's a potential coup kind of thing, that the Wallace are trying to help out the Reese family and tried to keep Historia and the bloodline continuing for whenever this is coming to fruition. I just couldn't understand it being the final meeting in not in the main throne room felt like it was kind of kept under wraps a little bit.
And he hugs her at the end saying that he's sorry, I'm guessing.
Yes. Okay.
And she's not as wrapped up as Aaron is. Aaron has something in his mouth too.
Let's speed run the rest until then, and then we can talk about that because I think that's where most of my mind's at right now too. So the whole torturing element, because there was one thing I wanted to note here for sure, that I thought was incredibly compelling, other than Levi and Hanji outsmarting him. Do you know why the wars never broke out? First Interior Squad dirtied our hands to protect the peace. Whether that peace is something that's true or just manufactured and told to him. A teacher too smart for their own good. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
A stupid couple who tried to fly. This was one of my favorite ones. They're obviously keeping people in the wall.
Yeah.
Then I'm thinking that they're also the people who not only made the walls, but made the Titans attacking the wall.
Mm-hmm. To make people want to retreat back in and stay.
Yep.
In my mind, Armin's parents have been killed by the interior police.
Yes. Okay. If they made the Titans to push them, to keep them inside the wall, they would want to give the people inside the wall a false sense of hope. Mm-hmm. That sense of hope being a group of people to try to go explore outside the wall to try to fight for that
But
better
never
life.
give them the best
but
people.
never give them the best soldiers to do it. The top 10.
Sick.
Right? Right?
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, like, so that would mean that maybe Ymir was pushed off the actual, like, this society, this civilization's wall
yeah.
60 years ago.
Yeah. And turned into a Titan.
Mm-hmm.
This, the other flashback, it does
Krista's
look like...
there.
It looks like Historia.
Mm-hmm.
It could be anybody with blonde hair, though. But they have a book, which is very interesting. Oh, no, it is Krista. A whore from some ranch in the sticks, so it's definitely Historia's mom, I'd assume, right?
No. Historia's mom had brown hair. They drew this to be a kind of a dirty blonde.
Well, it doesn't necessarily... Okay, I meant in terms of text. Like a whore from some ranch in the sticks. Like, maybe this could be a person they were torturing for information or something. But, like, I'm thinking they're referencing Historia's mom when talking about a whore from some ranch in the sticks. Like, oh, this is the person who had an affair with Historia's father, and we're going to kill Historia and her for it. But they obviously didn't kill Historia. Interesting that they're wearing different types of clothing. These people are wearing, like, old, like, 50s detective clothing.
Yeah.
Not at all anything that the interior police we saw were wearing. So I thought that was, I have the king, I believe in the king and the peace within the walls. To all things we've done were justified. To think it hurt this much. Go on and torture me to death already. That's all I ever did with the bloodstained life of mine. Very, very interesting. Rice is the true royal family.
Then I really don't understand what King Fritz's deal is and why Historia and her family aren't truly on the throne.
Well, this is Rice, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is this like a wanted poster?
No, I think it's more just an information.
Okay.
He has her eyes.
He has
or
kind
she
eyes.
has his eyes. I know, and he hugs her.
Historia.
That's why I feel like he didn't want to abandon her. Or he didn't want her to have to, like I thought it was like oh, you're an embarrassment and a bastard child, and I don't want you around. But it was obviously more like maybe King Fritz made him get rid of her or something.
So, well, no, I think that's definitely it. But the fact that remains is if King Fritz made him get rid of her, why is he allowed to be alive? So, is it because that, going back to the outro of last season, does it have to be a female of the Rice family?
Prophecy. Maybe it's like a blonde young
Yeah.
female. Maybe Krista, maybe she is his full, like, she's not a bastard or not an illegitimate child. Maybe she completely is legitimate, and because she fit this prophecy of matching Maria Rosensina,
And
the king wanted her gone.
And what is prophecy very easily tied to? Religion. And that leads me into thinking that there's the three factions. I think that the Wallace obviously were protecting Historia and keeping her alive, keeping that alive, and they're acting separately right now from King Fritz.
Yes, and I would add on to that by saying that they really meant that when Pastor Nix didn't say Historia's father was the one that they would answer to. But maybe Historia's father put the Wallace kind of in charge of ensuring that Historia stayed alive and that they listened to her and that they remembered faithfully that she is the true heir.
I don't know where to go from that thought though, because it's like, okay, well, what would the prophecy do? How would eating Eren and her becoming a Titan be any different than the Titans we've gotten so far? How would that help the Wallace cause? You know? What would that give the Wallace? What would because they're trying to protect the walls, right? So does that mean that they want another wall? Does that mean, like, what do they want?
They could, or they could also just know Why would they want to protect the walls?
Why would they want her to, how would that fit into their narrative?
I mean, it could be just more, the wall lists have, I don't know if they've ever necessarily said, we don't think people should be able to leave the walls. It was more just like, keep the walls are sacred. Do not break them. Do not touch them. Do not fix them. But if Maria, Rose, and Cena are inside of them, and so are Titans, of course they're sacred.
True. Very true. But it could also be like, the Wallace are like potentially putting forth this fake public belief to continue the actual history and knowledge of the Rice family
and
being
to
the royal
still get
family.
money.
And to still get money.
Financially get kind of their fingers in places.
And to remain.
And like roots.
Because if they were truthful about it and rebelled, they would be surely executed.
Because everyone wants to believe in something. And if you were to say, these walls that keep you safe, that have kept the peace here and protected you from those gigantic human-eating things, are these walls, and they are sacred, and they were given to us by a higher power. Like, I could definitely see why a lot of people would have jumped on that train.
Yeah.
So you're totally right. It could have been more of a not a disguise, but definitely there in order to be in the public eye and kind of get their roots down and have support. I think I was like, we asked ourselves, and we had said it out loud. Well, why were they not okay with the scouts finding out who Historia was? We said that at the beginning. By killing Pastor Nick, like, why is that such an issue when she's just some not some royal family, some high up rich guy's illegitimate daughter?
Wait, so when you said that they didn't want you said they didn't want the scouts to know?
Yeah. That's why they were trying to figure out what Pastor Nick had told the scouts.
Yeah, told the military police? Oh.
The military police were trying to figure out what Pastor Nick had told the scouts.
I thought that...
And we were wondering, well, why is her being an illegitimate child? Is it just an embarrassment? They don't want... It's embarrassing? But now we know it's because Pastor Nick knew who Historia really is.
Okay, I thought that they were trying to get out the information that I thought that they were trying to figure out where Historia was from him, because I thought prior they were the same faction, but I understand now.
Didn't the guy admit that that's why they killed Pastor Nick?
Yeah. But I'm just saying what I thought prior.
Oh, okay.
But yeah. Which is very interesting, though. I wonder,
because I was like, that an embarrassment of an illegitimate child is not significant enough to be so worried that Pastor Nick told the scouts about it. And I couldn't wrap my head around why that would be so important. But it's obvious that Pastor Nick protected, even from the scouts, the biggest piece of information.
Yeah. I wanted to touch on one thing before we leave this discussion. He said something in the terms of I've been over here, like I've seen them many times,
Yeah.
Why was he there?
He was doing a checkup. He was doing checking in on them. He probably, since he was the doctor, he probably just kind of did yearly checkups on people, just to make sure they were okay. Probably just kind of went around from town to town. Maybe he was kind of friends with Mikasa's parents. And so it was more like a friendly visit. I'm in town. Let me check in on you guys.
Yeah. The Ackerman storyline has me floored now. Now that I'm going back and looking at this scene, it's
obviously Levi looks like he could be the older brother in this family.
Yeah. There's so many interesting things in this world. I'm just looking at a circular piece of cement right now in episode 6 of season 1. And I'm like, that's weird. And it's not weird. I'm just so interested in everything. The embroidery pattern has been passed down in our family for generations. I wonder if that's something. I don't know. When you have children of your own, teach it to them. I wonder what that embroidery pattern is, if it's anything Oh, how do you get children? I'm so excited to watch this show, like, as a rewatch.
Oh, rewatch is going to be amazing for this show.
We don't know.
Part of me kind of wants to do it in the rewatch and dub, just so I can, like, experience... Because the lines could be changed slightly from what's subtitled to what's read by the voice actor, and also... Whether you agree with it or not, voice actors make different choices sometimes, and it could be interesting to hear a character being taken a slightly different way.
Yeah. I definitely would like to watch it in dub and like just to try to appreciate their voice actors as well. But I don't know if we're gonna do the rewatch yet on the channel. If we do it once we're done, that won't be for a while, of course.
I know, we still have new content that's not even out yet for Attack on Titan.
She's the last descendant. And it's like...
Maybe the last one they haven't acquired yet.
That's true. Okay. Alright. Okay,
so, yep, Eren and Historia are in the same room right now. Eren has, like... his mouth gagged. Historia is about to eat him.
Maybe.
No, who else? King Fritz. No. They obviously want... I think they want Historia to eat him.
Why does Hanji think that it's only a matter of time for Eren to be eaten?
Because why else would they have captured him?
Yeah.
So that means they have that same information of eating something gives you the power.
But it's like they've known about Eren for a while now.
So why didn't they try to eat him prior?
Probably because the story has just popped up, but we don't know what that does.
Oh my god. What if Historia's father sent her away and didn't tell anyone where? As like a protection thing. And Historia's mom, like, raised her, and that's why she had a different name, is because he knew that if the king knew about his daughter...
No, that would make a lot more sense in the whole timeline of things. Right? Like, because we had said, like, oh, well, why did they just now give her a different name? Oh, no, they would have had to do that at birth, right? Mm-hmm. And, like, so she probably was sent away to, like, a different place and raised there.
And maybe he was saying it was illegitimate and she was illegitimate, and he was telling everyone that.
Yeah.
But really,
fucking
she
Jon
wasn't.
Snow, dude.
Okay.
All right.
Whew, okay.
All right. You good?
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we hope to see you next time.